Hi, everybody. Hopefully you had a good lunch and having a good time the last couple days. Thanks to Alex and Anna for putting all this together. I know it took a lot of work, so thanks for your hard work. I'm Dan Reeser. I work on community and growth initiatives at the Web3 Foundation. We're the nonprofit foundation behind Polkadot, working on a lot of research, community growth, collaborations, and the like. And today I'm going to talk to you about a hackathon coming up in January where hopefully you can put some of the things that you've learned the last couple of days and over the last, the previous months as you've gotten deep into Substrate. So hopefully you can put that to work and start building some parachains and tooling on Kusama. So Kusama will be a 6-week hackathon in mid-January going through the end of February. It'll take place online over the course of about 6 weeks, really to ensure that we can get some high-quality projects that are close to the point where they could potentially be implemented and integrated with Cumulus to the actual relay chain of Kusama. So the hackathon's going to look really like this. So there's a couple categories. Number one being parachain. So I'm not going to go through everything on the slide here, but a few examples just being like a privacy chain, a gaming chain, like that came up yesterday in Rob's talk, a DeFi chain, and really an open-ended parachain challenge here just to get your creativity going and seeing how you can implement a parachain in kind of the real working Kusama network. And on the other side is the tooling challenge. So really just trying to continue building out the Substrate tooling to make the experience building with Substrate and building on Kusama as clean as possible, as easy as possible. So certain challenges we're looking for here would be like a testing suite, a transpiler for smart contracts, and then a Java being an example for an RPC client that still needs to be built for Substrate. The prizes here are pretty substantial, so we're looking for top 3 prizes in parachains and then top 3 prizes on the tooling side that will be given out from the judges over judging criteria that's really evenly distributed across things like the level of decentralization, how much this kind of integrates into the Web3 ecosystem as a whole, and a few other categories that the judges will be looking at as they go through that process. Just a couple more details. So the hackathon will take place on DevPost. It's not published live yet, but this will be going up probably in early January as soon as all that is finalized. And as I'm talking through this slide, if you're interested, you can scan the QR code here and just provide me your email address, and I'll keep you in the loop as things get finalized. I can send you the link to sign up for the hackathon, and you can start organizing a team around this. And then I just included the judges here. We have the 5 judges on the slide, and I think some of them may be here today. So thanks to you for already agreeing to help us out with the hackathon. And then last, another QR code if you finished the previous QR code already. This is for signing up for the ambassador program if you are interested. And I just wanted to see how many people in the crowd here are currently Polkadot ambassadors. So I've met a couple of you already, but thanks for coming, and come up to me afterwards. I'd like to meet all of you in person. It's great to see all of you here. But quick run through of the ambassador program. So we have 111 ambassadors and apprentices now across 37 countries in the world. And the community is very active. We have bi-weekly calls where people come and check in with other ambassadors on either technical work that they're doing or kind of community growth work that they're doing. The community is, like I said, about split half and half technical and non-technical. So there's plenty of opportunities for people to get involved. And once you get onboarded, we'll take you through the Trello board where we keep track of all the tasks and projects that people are working on so you can get a better idea of how you can start contributing to the community. And then here's just a few examples of projects that are ongoing at the moment. We have, I know, so Hyung Suk is one of our ambassadors from Korea. I just talked to him this morning, and they have a lot of work ongoing in getting a technical certification program going at Korea University. We have another ambassador, Alex, in São Paulo, Brazil, working on a Substrate implementation with a local enterprise there. And then last, there's a lot going on with translations of our content, documentation, website. So someone in Thailand has been working on a Polkadot and Substrate kind of local community and study group, and also getting videos and things out in the Thai language. So just a few examples I wanted to walk you through. And if you're interested, again, you can sign up here or just come find me afterwards, and I'm happy to talk more about what myself and Chris Hutchinson are working on with the Ambassador Program. So next I'll hand it over to Dieter, and Dieter's going to talk a lot about the Web3 grants and how you can get involved in that.
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for coming to Sub-Zero. It's great to see so many talented and motivated people here. So I'm actually not really going to talk much about the grants program, counterintuitively to what Dan said. But I will be talking about kind of a major initiative, a major goal of the Web3 Foundation, which is a little more general than, kind of the theme of this conference. So, everyone here is, very focused on Substrate and building on Substrate, which is awesome. But what we want to do at the foundation is support the entire Polkadot tech stack. So, these very simply, this is the set of technologies that either contribute to or rely on Polkadot. And right at the top, we have user-facing applications. And a major goal of the foundation is to really kind of sponsor the build-out of this entire tech stack in order for us to in order for you and people in the ecosystem to produce effective, decentralized, user-facing applications. So one thing we've been working on at the foundation is to really, graphically represent the stack, which is not so hard. But then what's more important than that is to actually kind of take stock of all the pieces of technology kind of within that stack that we think we need, and where and kind of catalog where we are in the development of that, and what the remaining things are to be built out. So this is like a very broad picture of the stack, and right at the top we have user-facing applications in many different verticals, so DeFi, gaming, I think Providence is up there. Immediately below that, we have kind of other user-facing things. So browsers, wallets, node explorers, block explorers. These are often things that users need to actually use applications, but sometimes you can also use them on a standalone basis. And then I think there's immediately below that, we start getting into like the more dev-focused layer. So, things like developer tooling, APIs, languages. This is an area that needs a lot of love. And right below that, we kind of start at, the more, Polkadot Substrate-focused layers. So things like second layer protocols, Plasm, state channels, rollups. I mean, arguably, this is part of the layer below that, because these things are normally all, as the Plasm team is doing and as other teams are doing, implemented like right on the parachain or right on the runtime. But I think they're different enough that they deserve a bit of special mention. And then immediately below that, we have your runtime layer. So parachains, parathreads, bridges as well, mostly fit in here. And, I think right now the majority of the teams kind of in this room and in the ecosystem are largely working on this layer. And this is kind of a function of where we are in the build out of this whole effort. Right now, kind of the different functionality built at this layer is going to be the most important in actually dictating the functionality of these user-facing applications that we'll eventually get. And then right at the bottom, of course, we have Polkadot. Well, not quite at the bottom. And this is, core protocol and largely a focus of Parity. And then finally, we get into the pieces of tech that Polkadot relies on. So peer-to-peer networking, the actual cryptography in there, WASM, Rust, and then deployment tooling right at the bottom, which is really, things that you need in order to actually deploy the protocol. So node infrastructure, validator infrastructure, HSMs, kind of really low-level stuff that's super important. And so, this graphic on its own is like nice, but not super useful. But where things get a little more useful is actually when you kind of break down the pieces of technology within each layer. And so what we have here, we have the kind of runtime layer. And then, what we've tried to do is think of, okay, like what are all the pieces of technology that we want eventually built here? At least we think we want right now. And where is this at? So the first layer would be pieces of technology where either there's been significant work done on or where significant work is being done on there. And so, the reason why we sort them like that is because from the foundation's perspective, from grants and collaborations, we really want to know like how we should focus our time and how we should prioritize supporting the build out of different pieces of tech. And for kind of this top, like thin red band, we think, okay, there's already a lot of work being done here, and we don't have to spend as much time looking for builders to actually build out this layer. Similar to that, the yellow layer would be, pieces of technology that we think where there's been some work done, but where we could probably use more people actually building things. So this would be kind of a medium priority layer. And then right at the bottom, which is like not coincidentally the largest and thickest layer, would be pieces of technology where there's been little or no work done on yet. So this is where we focus the majority of our time trying to at least source teams to actually build this out. And so what we want to do with this is we want to do this breakdown essentially for each layer, which is, pretty well already done, but put this on the internet somewhere, keep it up to date, and really allow it to serve as a guide for the community to know where we're at with building out this stack. So, not only can you actually find pieces of technology that are relevant for what you're building, but if you want to actually contribute to building this stack, you know what we need and kind of what already exists. One other thing that's super important to mention is that all this, like this kind of general broad representation and this slightly more detailed representation is really like our interpretation of things. We can easily get things wrong, and there's probably things we're missing. So by no means do we want this to stymie creativity, and we don't want people to kind of think that this is all we need, or that we haven't missed anything, or there are things there that, or that there aren't things there that are also important. So by all means, if you have a great idea or any idea, like we want to hear about it, and we want to hear what your impression is. So thank you very much. If you are interested in the Foundation's grant program, please get in touch. My email address and Telegram are on the board. There's general information about the grants program on the website, which is also on the board. And we're also hiring. So if you want to join a great team and help build out this tech stack, then please also get in touch. Thank you.